Well, hello everyone. This is Music as a Journey. I'm Peter Scove. The other day I watched a video by Jack the Music Guy, and he did a video on his channel where he was asking, I think it was about 5 bands, but he was asking if any of us out there have heard of these bands or if we have them in our collection. I think of I guess it was 5 that he showed. One of them I had in my collection, but the other 4 I think either I didn't have or I didn't know who they were. So it got me thinking for a bit because I've been going through my collection, pulling out CDs that I haven't listened to for quite a long time because they fit into the particular themes I've had for some of my recent videos. And as I dig around, I just see there are a lot of albums I haven't listened to in years and years. And as well, it just made me think, certainly when I watch other people's videos, I see a lot of artists that I don't have in my collection. In many cases, I've never heard of them, or it's not really my style of music that I'm interested in, or in some cases I've just decided I don't really need them in my collection. But it makes it really interesting for me to watch other people's videos where they talk about a lot of different artists that they're very passionate about. So even if I'm not interested in adding them to my collection, or even checking out the music, sometimes it's really fun to watch those videos. So I thought today I would dig through my collection and I would pull out, it was going to be 5, but I made it into 6. 6 bands that I haven't heard anyone talk about yet, mostly, but it's possible that somebody out there might have them in their collection, right? So of course I don't know, I'm subscribed to probably close to 70 channels. I don't watch everybody all the time. I don't watch, even the people I do watch most of the time, I don't watch all the time, right? So it's possible that somebody out there I know might actually have this in their collection as well. Somebody that those people might know that I don't know might also have them in their collection. But let's get started. I'm picking one for each decade, not this decade, but the previous 6 decades. So we're going to start from the 1960s, and this is a band called The Litter. Their debut album Distortions, which was released in 1967. The famous song on here is called Action Woman, and actually I did hear Brian at Embryonic Journey mention this. Embryonic Journey, that's a Jefferson Airplane guitar instrumental. Embryonic Robot. Brian at Embryonic Robot mentioned Action Woman because he had some record where somebody did a cover of it and he didn't know what the original was. So anyway, this is the band, The Litter, and they had, as far as I know, 3 albums. I have the first and the third. In the 1960s, and they were an American garage rock, later to become psychedelic rock type band, and even by the third album we're almost getting a bit of that kind of punkiness to it, slightly garage rock punky sound. So anyway, The Litter. Does anyone out there have any albums by The Litter? Next up, this is one I started listening to recently. This is Renaissance Prelude. This is actually the 3rd Renaissance studio album, but this is the first album with the entirely new lineup. The original band was started by Keith Relf and Jim McCarty of the Yardbirds, and with Keith Relf's sister Jane Relf. But they decided to give up the band. There were some lineup changes, and finally they just gave the whole thing over to a brand new lineup. And this was the debut album called Prologue. I really like the opening track, which is Prologue, which is an instrumental, except that Annie Haslam is singing do 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 do. I think she called it vocalese or something like that. So no actual words, just lots of do do do's. But she sings amazingly, and of course, Renaissance started out with the idea that they were going to have a classical pianist in the band. So I don't think it's the original pianist here. It's a new guy, but he does play incredibly well. The second track, Kiev, actually features a male lead vocal with Annie Haslam doing either backing vocals or joining in as a duet in parts. That is also a really cool piece. The next 3 tracks are more easy, softer piano and vocals, not a lot of a rock band feel to them, but the final track, Raja Khan, 11 minutes and 31 seconds, has a bit of a rock band meets Indian feel to it. Again, no actual sung words, just vocalese. This time I think it's instead of do do do, but also a pretty cool piece. So anyway, that's Renaissance's 3rd album and the first album with Annie Haslam on vocals, and Prologue. So does anybody have this album? Or I'm sure somebody out there has Renaissance albums in their collection. But let me know if you've got any Renaissance... Where's my tongue not working today? If you've got any Renaissance albums in your collection. Jeez willikers. Okay, moving to the 1980s, I was really shifting around. Who am I going to talk about? And when I went to dig out one band, I found this one and I thought, okay, somebody's got to have this. In fact, I'm sure I've heard people talk about Candlemass before, but I don't think anyone I'm subscribed to, except for maybe S&T Young, because he does a lot of different types of metal. So this is Candlemass, known as one of the originators of doom metal, or at least doom metal, I guess, as it was from the 1980s onwards. Of course, Black Sabbath are often known as the main, like, early doom metal types. But anyway, Candlemass from, I think it was Sweden, and their very first album was Epicus Doomicus Metallicus or something like that. This is Nightfall, and the reason why I'm showing this one is because this reissue came with a massive 3-disc fold-out set here. Geez, I don't even remember if I've listened to all of this. It's an awful lot of listening here. I have not listened to Candlemass for a while, though, so it's probably about time that I listen to these again with that classic vocalist they had at one time. Anyway, Candlemass. I'm sure some people out there have Candlemass. If you have any Candlemass in your collection, do let me know in the comments. Okay. Now, the 1990s, I could have picked a lot of different ones, but again, as I was looking for the one I was thinking of, I decided to go with this one here. This is White Willow, a prog band, again from, wait a minute, were they from Sweden or were they from Norway now? This is a reissue of their debut album, Ignis Fatuus, and the original cover was quite different. I don't think I have the original cover in here. This was a 2 CD set, so it came with the original album on one disc plus some live tracks, outtakes, and demos and so forth here on the second disc. This album is also quite different from what they did later on. This has more of a folk type feel to it. Folk, prog folk, whatever, on this album. Later albums went into more of a rock type band configuration. Anyway, I think of their first 6 albums, I have 5 of them. I think I'm missing their second album. And they have a lot of really, really great songs. I really like White Willow, but again, I was into White Willow at one point, and I listened to, you know, those 5 albums that I bought, and I haven't listened to them for a long time. They were mentioned in this book, Citizens of Hope and Glory, The Story of Progressive Rock by Stephen Lamb. He did a chapter, oh, there it was right there, it was right there. He did a chapter on, what did he call it now? Well, anyway, it was about the Scandinavians, and there's the original cover in total black and white there. But yeah, I mentioned Anglagod and Anecdoten. Anecdoten Nucleus was the album I wanted to take out, but then I found White Willow instead. So yeah, they're mentioned in this book as one of this album being one of the important albums as a gateway album if you're interested in getting into progressive rock. I think the book names 62 albums, and this is one of them here. So White Willow. Anybody got any White Willow in their collection? Still fighting my tongue here. Stone Gods from the 2000s. It was 2000s, wasn't it? Probably. So the band The Darkness released 2 albums, and then they had to send their singer, Justin Hawkins, off to rehab, I think it was. I'm trying to open this now. Okay, I'm going to have to edit the video here because I can't open this. Okay, so yeah, Justin Hawkins went into rehab, and then some of the members continued on, doing a band called Stone Gods and recording an album. Let me just see who's on this. We've got Richie Edwards, lead vocals, guitar. Dan Hawkins, presumably the brother of Justin, lead guitar, backing vocals. Toby McFarlane, bass, backing vocals, and Ed Graham, drums. So I don't remember how many of them are actually The Darkness members, but at least 2 of them, if not 3. So what is Stone Gods like? Well, it is a rockin' album. They've got some really, you know, bad boy hard rock songs like, well, Burn the Witch, the very first opening track. There's also one here, You Brought a Knife to a Gunfight. You know, you brought a knife to a gunfight, so fuck you. Anyway, cool song. And then they have some other ones that are a little bit more melodic, some that are, I don't remember, I haven't listened to this for a long time, but I do remember this is a really cool album. Partly on the melodic side, partly on the gritty tough guy side. So that is Stone Gods. Anybody out there know of this album? Anybody have a Stone Gods album in their collection? So, From the Darkness, some of the members there. Okay, and then moving up to the 2010s, this one fell in. I wasn't planning on including this, but while I was looking for something else, I found that this is a band called Rocket Scientists, I believe from California. Again, prog rock band. I think it's a three-piece. Yes, it is. Looks like there are three guys right there. One fella over here, this dude, he's a multi-instrumentalist. I don't remember all the instruments he plays. I have two other Rocket Scientist albums. I like them both. This one here is interesting because it seems to take almost like catchy pop type tunes, but set them into a prog rock song format. Most of the tracks are of reasonable length too. Like, I think they're around 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Maybe there's one here that's 8 minutes. Another album I have of theirs, they have one of those, like, 20-minute plus epics on there. But I think, yeah, this one here, either I really surprisingly liked the songs, or I thought they were, quite all right. But anyway, Rocket Scientists, this was Refuel from 2014. So, if you have any of those bands in your collection, drop me a note, drop me a comment. I'd like to know about it. And maybe I might do another video like this sometime. As well, I'm going to put the link to Jack the Music Guy, Jack's original video in the description below. So do check out his video and see if you have any of the albums and bands that he's talking about. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching. Catch you in another one. Bye.